How's it going, guys? It's Ryan here, and welcome to this low-level Bandos solo guide for EOC and Legacy. I've got a bit of a cold, but I'm going to try to work through this. So yeah, let's jump right in. This guide is for anyone who is probably a little lower level, doesn't have either a ton of bank or really high stats, who wants to solo the Bandos boss. Now, quick disclaimer, your stats and your gear are going to be directly proportional to how well you can solo this boss. So obviously the higher your stats are, the better. I'm going to be doing it with kind of minimalist stats, but if you have higher stats, that's better. So yeah, let's jump right in. First off, we've got the requirements. You're going to need level 70 strength and completion of the Troll Stronghold quest for this guide. Okay, so I recommend that you have 70 attack, strength, and defense. This is great because it lets you use Barrows gear or God Warriors gear if you want to do that, as well as just decent base stats to kill the boss effectively. Big recommendation is 43 prayer. You're going to need this, pretty much. Protect from melee prayer makes it a lot more effective to solo this boss. Completion of the Edgar's Ruse quest for the Trollheim teleport is good to have. Level 52 plus summoning for a Spirit Terror Bird is good to have as well as a Beast of Burden. And a 10-minute grave or Signs of Respite from the Divination skill are very important as well. Anything I've highlighted in blue is like extra important as a recommendation. If you got Signs of Respite, basically what they do is when you die, you click on them and they extend your grave timer. So they're really helpful, they're really important. You can basically bless your own grave so you can make it back in time to get your stuff if you happen to die. Okay, so now into the info about the Bandos boss. Bandos boss is level 624, has 40,000 life points, has a max hit of 5,250, and before you say like, what the hell, that's really high, he does not usually hit that high, and with your prayers, he's only going to hit half that, and yeah, that is the max hit. Usually hits a lot lower than that. His attack interval is 3.6 seconds, he attacks with melee and range, and he's weak to nothing, so you can use whatever combat style you want to. Now, into the minions, there are 3 minions. Those are their combat levels. They all have the same amount of life points, and they all have the same max hit. Now, you're probably thinking that's really low. They actually do a lot of work, because if you're using melee, the Major will hit you quite a bit, and very consistently. So the minions do hit you quite a bit as well. You need to look out for them. So now I'm going to show you how to get there. Okay, getting to the God Wars dungeon is very easy to do once you've got all your proper gear, your setup, your familiar is full. All that, you're going to teleport to Trollheim either with a tablet or with the spell, and then you're just going to go as I go. It's kind of northeast-ish. Then you're going to run back, you're going to jump over that last obstacle there, and then it's just straight north. And you're going to push the boulder or go around it. This requires 60 strength or agility, which you'll already have if you've got 70 strength to kill the Bandos boss. And then you're in the God Wars dungeon. At this point, run north. Okay, at this point, I'm going to show you how to get the kill count, because to enter the Bandos stronghold, you need to kill 40 Bandos followers. So there are kind of 2 ways to do this. The first way is to passively be there with EOC and use abilities and kill the monsters, and the other way, which I'll show you, only works if you're using the Guthans method, but I'll show it to you, and it's very AFK. It's almost fully AFK. You can just sit there the whole time, and it's really easy to do. Okay, so for the kill count, basically you need to kill 40 Bandos followers. If you're not using Guthans, a good option is to do what I'm doing right now, where you're just killing the Jogers and Ogres and Skogers and all that, as well as Goblins. They're always a good bet to kill as well. And the Hobgoblins are good as well. But you can actually attack Orcs if you have Guthans on, and what happens with Orcs is if you attack one Orc, all the other Orcs join in and attack you as well, which basically with Guthans, because it heals you up, it basically means you can AFK your kill count. So I was just AFK here. I just attack an Orc, and then it's a constant chain of Orcs that will continue to attack you if you set it up right. So if you are using the Guthans method, which is the recommended method, just hitting an Orc and then having other Orcs jump on you as well is a really good way to get your kill count in an AFK way. And yeah, once you've got your kill count, well, you're going to go as I go. You run west, you bang the big door. I'm going to do it in about 5 seconds once I get my kill count. But yeah, something else I was going to say is if you find that after your kill count you're lower HP, might be a good idea just to attack some creatures, which is what I'll do in a minute there, just to get that HP back before you go into the room, because you don't want to waste your food. So as you can see, I just had to attack a couple guys, and then I was back at full HP. So now you're going to go as I go, and you are in the Bandos room ready to fight the boss. Okay, so now what mode should you use? This is kind of an interesting debate, and after trying out both modes, both were quite good. Pretty much EOC is more efficient to use, unless you're using a Barrows set effect. So if you don't plan on using, say, Guthans, I would use EOC for sure. But if you are using a Barrows set, Barrows works very well. Like a Guthans set works extremely well as well. I was very impressed with how well it went. But yeah, pretty much Legacy's simple, it's semi-AFK, less click intensive. EOC is a little faster, and you have healing abilities. Now this is a really big one. Healing abilities make a huge difference. So that is also something important to take into account in how long your trip is going to last. If you use EOC, you can heal up very well. Now, gearing. Basically what you want to do is you want to use the highest tiered armor you can in the combat style that you're using, and I would actually recommend you use melee, and here's why. The Bandos boss attacks with melee and ranged, so to best protect yourself from melee and range, melee armor is the best bet for that. So that is why I'd recommend you use melee, especially at a lower defense level. Melee is absolutely what I'd recommend. So pretty much weapon-wise, you're going to want to use the strongest two-handed weapon or dual wield you have. That's level 70 or higher. So whether that's a whip and an enhanced Excalibur, or a God Sword, or Chaotix, or Dryweavers, whatever it may be, just use the strongest, which is the highest tier weaponry you can. And that's, of course, unless you're using a Barrows set effect. Okay, so now into armor, I'm just going to leave it there. Obviously, this isn't every armor in the game, but these are sort of an up-down-grade list from what your options are. So yeah, that's about it in terms of the armor you're going to wear. And anything on this list you'll do just fine. I used pretty much minimalist when I tested this out, and it went quite well. So now into the weapons. Obviously you're going to have Graardors right at the top with your Noxious, and then your Chaotix, and your God Swords. And then the alternative would be a Barrows weapon of choice. Now, something worth noting, obviously this isn't every weapon in the game. There are some other weapons, like the crystal weapons are fine. Tons of other weapons in the game, a Whipvine, and an enhanced Excalibur, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to include every weapon. The highest tiered weapon you have. It's pretty simple. So yeah, into the Barrows Method. So there are 3 different options when you're using the Barrows Method, which is the Guthun set, which has a chance of healing you 100% of your next hit. The Varrock set, which gives you increased accuracy and damage on some attacks. This is great if you've got like a lower attack level, having trouble hitting the boss. And then the third option is the Darrock set, which gives you increased damage at lower HP. I really wouldn't recommend doing this, but it's a lot of fun. If you're there to mess around and you're not going for the longest trip possible, just chilling around 200 HP and just trying to hit as high as you can is a lot of fun. So note about the Barrows Method, you'd use the Barrows sets in Legacy mode, or the set effects don't work, so it's pretty pointless. So do these in Legacy mode. So now I'm going to talk about your inventory setup. Quick disclaimer, you're going to have to do a couple trips to figure out ideally what your setup is, because it depends entirely on your stats and your gear and your prayer bonus and what aura you're going to bring and all of that. But pretty much when your trip ends, if you've got extra prayer, next trip bring less prayer potions and bring more food. It just works like that, you just balance it out. But there's kind of your food up down grade list. I'd recommend something like sharks and stat boosting pots. Always bring stat boosting pots, whatever ones you can, and that includes defense. A lot of the time, especially with my Queen Black Dragon guide, I have a ton of people who are like, oh my god, can't kill it, keep dying, phase 2. So I say, you know what, record it, send it to me, and I will tell you what you were doing wrong, because with the stats you have, you should be able to kill the boss, and 9 times out of 10, it's because they're not using defense pots. It makes a huge difference, so always pot defense. Other pots, prayer renewal is great to have, and super restores are better than prayer potions, because they heal your summoning points as well, and you're probably going to want to renew your familiar partway through the trip. Okay, so now into familiars. Here's an up-down grade list, basically Yak right at the top with a Terror Bird all the way at the bottom. Overhead prayers, well, Soul Split is better than Protect Melee, but in this guide I'm assuming you're probably going to have Protect Melee as it is a lower level guide. That works just fine. Stat boosting prayers, Turmoil, then Piety, and then other. What other is either the Leech Curses or the Burst of Strength, Superhuman Strength, all those ones, like the normal prayer book boosting potions. Sorry, boosting prayers. So the other thing is Protect items, always good to have, and Berserk if you're on the Ancient Curses is always good to have as well. So now into the kills. First off, I'm going to show you guys the Guthun's method on Legacy, and then I will get into the God Sword method on EOC. So a couple kills of each method. Hopefully you guys will have a good idea of kind of how the kills work. Alrighty, so here is me killing the Bandos boss with the Guthun's method, which is on Legacy mode. As you can see, I'm using super pots, and because my stats are higher than most people who are probably using this guide, I am not using any stat boosting prayers at all, as you can see at the start there. So I just turn them off entirely, which makes my stats 10% lower effectively than they would be because I'm not boosting them with prayers. So that's just to balance it out, because I know in previous videos people are like, okay, but you're max, so of course it's easy. So yeah, I decided to not use any stat boosting prayers at all, although when you do it you will want to. But as you can see, that's sped up a tiny bit, but not too hard, is it? You can just sit there. Don't let your HP get too low like I did here, but don't eat all the way up, because then you're wasting heals if you hit like a 500, because then Guthans won't be able to heal you that 500. But yeah, so after you actually kill the boss, pretty much what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to kill the minions, grab all your loot, all that stuff. The minions are great because they let you heal up quite a bit, and you should be able to start every kill with full HP. And yeah, I actually AFK'd a kill, which I did with livecom, and that is coming up right about now, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. But that's just to say, this method is really, really good for a really long trip, if you want to do that. And here we go. BRB AFK. Be back in a few minutes, guys. And, well, that worked out pretty well. I'm at almost 800 HP. Okay, and here is a kill with the Godsword method. Now you can actually see my gear. This is identical gear to what I did the Guthans kill in. The only difference is I swapped out the Guthans for Verax, because Verax has a prayer bonus, and obviously I swapped out the War Spear for an Armadil Godsword. So, no AFKing this time because we're using EOC. We're going to be mashing some abilities. Some good abilities to use are Assault, as well as Slaughter, which is my T ability where you press it and then you run away and then you run back and it hits the Bandos boss. And once again, no stat boosting prayers. You'll notice that the kill speed is a little faster than the Guthans method, but I am taking a little more damage just because the Guthans isn't healing me up too much. But there's a great thing you can do at the end of every kill that can really help you out in that sense from an HP perspective, which is pretty much you have healing abilities, ultimate abilities that heal you. If you do not have the Guthix's Blessing, basically what you can, or the Ice Asylum, what you can do is you can bring a shield with you and just equip it just to use the shield ability that heals you at the end of the kill. But pretty much what you do is after the boss is dead, you get full adrenaline on the minions and then you use a healing ability to get you back up to full HP. And then before the next boss spawns, what you can do is you can log out and then log back in to reset the timer on that ability. That'll mean that you're starting every single kill with almost full HP, which means if you don't use any food during the kills, you can stay there until your potions run out, which makes for quite long trips as well. So these are two pretty good methods. It's up to you to figure out what you like to do. I personally prefer the Guthans one just because instead of spam clicking, you can like watch a movie or semi-AFK a little bit. It's just a little easier in that sense, but it's really up to you. But yeah, those are your kills. So basically at this point, what you do is you log out and then you log right back in to reset the 5-minute timer on those healing abilities. So you can do it again at the end of every kill. Okay, so now into the notable drops. Drops that are over 1 mil, you got the Bandos chestplate, the tassets, the helmet, the boots, and the gloves. And under 1 mil, you've got the Bandos war shields and the hilts. You can also get hard and elite clue scrolls, and also War Priest of Bandos gear, which is really, really great. It's level 75 gear that's classed as type all, so it is great gear to get your hands on as well. So yeah, that's about it for this guide. Thank you guys so much for watching it. And if you have any questions, ask me via YouTube PM, comment, or in my friends chat or clan chat. My RuneScape name is the RS Guy. And yeah, the high level guide is on the way as well. If you want to join my clan, guest in the RS Guys clan chat and ask for an invite. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day, happy holidays, and peace!